All right, we're jumping UFC flyweight Brandon Royval, who should be next in line for the title. Brandon, how's it going, man?
Good. I know you said that as sure as I am right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
I should be. I don't know. I don't even know what happens though.
Obviously weighed in, like we talked before the fight, like that was all official. Like we'll kind of start right there. Like what is fight week like having to cut weight and not even being sure if you're gonna fight or not?
5 week was weird, man, because it's like you don't have any interview. Like I didn't have any interviews or anything. It was just like I was just looking for ways to occupy my time, which is normally it's just fill the stuff and activities and all the things that I need to do and all that. But it was actually like kind of peaceful. It was just me and my cornerman just hung out, watched TV. I only brought one cornerman out there because it was like I wasn't sure if I was fighting, and it's like I had a few backup flights for my other cornermans, but like it was just like I'm not sure if I'm fighting, so it's like I'm just gonna go do what I gotta do and make weight and watch movies and stuff as I normally prepare, but without interviews, I guess.
Does that make weight cutting like harder in a sense, like how you don't even have like anything to look forward to? Like in that moment, it's like at least when you're cutting weight, like you're gonna get paid a lot of money, like you're gonna fight. Like obviously you're getting paid still, but like just to cut weight, just to kind of cut weight, like is that kind of hard to get down to 25 and not even know if it's gonna be worth it or anything?
For me, it was just like I was securing a title shot, so it was worth it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, you know what, like if I go do this, I'm showing the UFC and the company that I can make this weight, and not only can I make this weight, but if they need a job done, I'm the guy for it. And I felt like that was kind of the right thing to do, anyways. Is just as long as I go in there, make weight. If the fight happens, it happens, and I'll be ready for it. But if it doesn't happen, then I'm just
Getting down to 125 on the dot too, like was that kind of nice practice, like almost like a trial run for when you do the title fight and have to be on the dot?
yeah. I mean, I would like to weigh in with my boxers on next time.
Yeah.
So, there was like a minor mistake there, but that being said, is yeah, yeah, I know I can make it. I've done it on accident before a few times where I'm like, oh shit, I cut down to 124 without even thinking about it. And I know it's possible. It was a rough weight cut for me. I made a few mistakes along the way, and yeah, so but I got it done, and I knew I could cut more weight on top of that. So
Mhm.
there's like a lot of I don't know. Like I said, I had a rough weight cut, and I deserved that myself. So I'm glad I could learn a lesson without having to fight afterwards.
Are you kind of glad then you didn't have to fight then if the weight cut was that tough?
No, I had a hard training camp. So I had like a super hard training camp, and it was like the weight cut sucked, but it was like I knew I could have lost 2 more pounds if I needed to.
Mhm.
I was still sweating, and it was just like the moment I hit 125 and it said it, I was like, screw it, I'll just weigh naked. I don't care. Like
Mhm.
I would way rather do that than jump back in the sauna. Then it takes 15 minutes, 10 minutes to start sweating again, and then once I start sweating again, then it's like, did I overcut at that point? And then it's like, so it was just like I knew I made the weight, so it's like once I hit the weight, I was like, there's no point in doing anything else but weighing in at this. So uh, no, I guess not really.
And then after you weigh in, like I know both Brandon Pantoja obviously both made the weight, but like when do you finally kind of realize that you're not gonna be needed? Because like you still can go to bed Friday morning, like something could happen
Yeah,
overnight or
I went to
whatever.
bed. I went to bed early on Friday morning. Yeah, I like started eating junk food at like noon the next day.
Yeah.
Noon the next day, I was like, all right, I'm pretty sure this fight's happening. I called my cornerman, checked it, put on a few things, and it was like, all right, I'm pretty sure this fight's happening.
Does that make like the night before and like Saturday morning a bit like stressful? Like still kind of not even knowing that close to the fight time if you're still gonna fight?
Nah, I just put in my head I was gonna fight. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't do the what ifs the whole entire camp. There's only a few times where I was like, okay, well, this fight's probably not gonna happen, and I quickly got away from that way of thinking, and I thought that that served me no justice at all. It's just like, either way, I'm gonna fight for a belt one day, and I'm preparing for it as if I am doing it right now. And I thought that was just the smarter move, and just to get it out of my head right off the bat that it's like, there's no what ifs. I'm fighting for a belt, and I'm fighting this week, and I'm fighting July 8th or whatever, and I got a job to do, and I'm gonna go do that. So that was at the forefront of my mind, and then I had to make that happen.
And then going into the fight, like I picked Moreno. I thought he was gonna win. Like with the fight, obviously, it was one of the more exciting fights. Like I was kind of surprised by how easily Pantoja was able to get him down to the ground. You've obviously fought both of them. Like, were you surprised how easily and like how effectively Pantoja was able to use his wrestling and grappling in there?
No, I think Pantoja is probably one of the best grapplers in the division, and I knew if it went to the ground that there wasn't much of there wasn't much that Brandon Moreno could do against Pantoja. I knew that the submission threat for him wasn't that high. And then I also knew like how dangerous Pantoja is as a submission artist. So I'm not really surprised. I was surprised on how easy it was to get Brandon Moreno to the ground.
Mm.
I think Pantoja has that weird jiu-jitsu takedowns and stuff, so he probably wasn't as prepared for it compared to like when he was fighting Askarov, where those are like more traditional type of takedowns that I think Brandon Moreno sees every day. Where Pantoja's kind of getting the back and then doing like riding hooks and just kind of doing stuff that like a jiu-jitsu, like those are my takedowns. Like I'll like jump to my back or whatever it is, and I felt like Pantoja did a lot of that.
And kind of credit to Pantoja as well. Like I was watching the fight with some of my friends, and like we all kind of thought he looked like he was slowing down, like gassing, like in like the second
Yeah,
or third round. And like I was pretty surprised that like not only did he go all 25, but like he won some of those later rounds. Like, what do you think that says about kind of him and his cardio to kind of just push through all that when he looked like he was getting pretty tired, like that second, third round, second,
yeah.
third round?
Um, that's what I thought too, and I thought Brandon Moreno's cardio was going to hold up a little better than it did too, because Moreno looked like he slowed down majorly too that
Mm.
at like that third round. And I remember like I looked at my manager, and I have are both he manages Moreno and
Yeah.
myself, and I was kind of sitting by him, and I looked at him and I was like, yo, like it's gonna be cool. Brandon Moreno's gonna win because like second round, I'm like Pantoja slowed down majorly. I was like he's gonna start taking over, and then that third round hit, I was like okay, I think I don't know if this is if Pantoja's really out of this like we thought. So I don't know. I would just say if there's anything to give credit to Pantoja for is just constant perseverance, and it's like
Mhm.
that guy was thriving, and he had a will, and he found a way.
And then overall, like, what were your kind of thoughts on the fight? Like, obviously, a pretty entertaining back and forth fight.
Yeah, yeah. I was just on the Hawani show, and I never thought of this until today, but it was just like that was a great fight, like back
Yeah.
and forth, the heart that they put in there, and like wow, what a fight, and what like to be in one of those like crazy brawls. I've been there before, and it's like those aren't easy to pull through, and they both had the will to win, and they both were like trying to win the whole entire time. That being said, is I feel like I watched the same techniques used after the Denver Nuggets won, and the Nuggets fans were just fighting each other in the middle of downtown. I watched that same kind of technique and the same kind of brawls over and over again, just with less cardio and less speed, and that's kind of how I felt about it. I was like, they both should be proud of themselves and they both show championship heart, but the skill level in some of those striking techniques is just like, there's a lot of holes in both their games, and it's like I think I could expose a lot of them.
Final bell rings. Like, I thought Pantoja won. I think it was like first, third, and fifth, if I remember correctly. But like, and then it kind of goes to a split. Like, what are your kind of thoughts on like? Did you kind of think Pantoja won? Like, what were your thoughts on the split decision as
Yeah,
well?
I scored at 4 rounds for Pantoja, and when I heard the split, I was like, they're gonna give it to Moreno, and when they give it to Moreno, it's gonna have to be an immediate rematch because I was like, there's no way he won that fight. But yeah, I thought they scored it the right way. I thought Pantoja won the fight. I thought he clearly won the fight too.
Mhm.
I scored him 4 rounds originally, but you could definitely give him 3 rounds.
And then for you, like, how big of a relief is it that there was no like draw, DQ, kind of anything like that when
I'm
you're
not
approaching
relieved, bro.
it?
I'm not relieved at all. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know who's fighting for the belt next. I don't know what's about to happen. I'm just staying ready, and I'm being hopeful, and that's all you can do in this situation is I'm being hopeful. I know what I did, and I know what I had to do, and I know that I did everything along the way that they wanted me to do. Is they said the Nikolai fight's a contender fight. I went and knocked the full out. I went and knocked him out. I didn't even get punched. And it's like then they said, okay, go be the backup. I make 125, and it's like
Mm.
I'm doing everything necessarily to get there. And it's like if I have to go knock a few people out on the way there to get that belt, then so be it. But that being said, I feel like I checked all the boxes and did everything that they wanted me to do along the way.
So did the UFC not kind of tell you afterwards that you are next? Are you still just kind of in a waiting spot to see?
I feel like when I weighed in, I talked to Mick, and I felt like I was for sure next at that point. Is I talked to him and I was like, "So what do you think about bringing me into the cage?" Yada yada yada. And he's like, "I like the idea a lot." He goes, "We'll make that decision in the moment." And I was just like, "I need to. If I walk in that cage, I'm for surely getting the next shot." So that's all I cared about. So and then him saying that made me feel like I was like, all right, cool, I'm getting the next shot. I don't know anymore. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, and like, I don't have anything for sure set in stone, and I don't have anything like for surely thrown at me. So I'm just being hopeful, and I'm leaving it up to my management team and hoping that they're getting that job done. You know.
Oh, well, I feel like after Adesanya went in and that kind of thing, like I feel like that ruined the chance for you. And like I know Ilya was there too. Like I wouldn't have been surprised they brought him in if Bulk was gonna say 45. Like I feel like that whole exchange kind of realized the UFC was like, all right, fuck, we can't bring in anyone else
Yeah,
in.
and that's what he was saying because like Dana doesn't like bringing people in the cage because he feels like things go wrong all the time, and it never really goes the way he wants it to go. And I was like, I understand that. And then when the moment Izzy walked into the cage, and then I was like, this shit ain't going. Like when he walked out, I was like, there's no way they're bringing me in there.
I know we've talked about you wanting that rematch against both Pantoja and Moreno, so this is kind of the best case scenario. Like, are you happy it's Pantoja, or do you wish like that first title fight was against Moreno, or did it not matter to you?
It doesn't matter as long as I'm fighting for a title. But that being said, is I would love to get my revenge on Pantoja and win a belt all at the same time. That would be
Mhm.
the greatest. That'd be the greatest scenario for me, you know. And then hopefully Moreno wins his next fight, and then I could go fight Moreno for that rematch. And then it's like in my head, that's the best case scenario for me, anyway. So I love that idea, and I love that I could go beat Pantoja and then fight Moreno for pay-per-view points, and that guy brings a crowd. So it's like that's the
Mhm.
best of both worlds right there. So I hope that happens. But like I said, I just want that title shot, and I won't be relieved until I get it. You know.
Do you think it's like between you and Amir, or do you think there is a chance they run back Moreno fight again?
I feel like it's probably more likely, and these are just like Twitter like trolls and stuff. It's just like I think the people want to see it's either me or Moreno, and it's like I
Mhm.
don't think the Moreno fight makes sense in my head, and I don't think the Amir fight makes sense in my head either. It's just like
No.
I don't think Amir's beat anybody in the top five legitimately, like you know what I'm saying, and it's like nobody thinks he beat Kai Kara France, and then when it comes to Moreno, it's like he lost 3 of these fights. It's like I think I'm the only option right now, and it's like I hope I'm the only option at least, but I feel like I've done everything in my willpower and everything that I could do to secure that title shot. But it's not up to me. So
Yeah, because I kind of think it should be you and Pantoja, and then I actually think Amir should just fight Brandon, and then the winner of those two just get the winner of you versus Pantoja.
I know I ran into Amir at the UFC PI, and that's what I was telling him. I was like, "Yo, the moment I beat one of these guys, whoever wins the bout, I was like, the moment I beat one of them, I'll call you out immediately." Like I was like, "Don't worry about that. Like me and you are gonna fight." But it's like I don't know. I just got to get that title shot. Once I get that title shot, I win that bout. I'll fight any of these guys. I prefer Brandon Moreno just because there's that what if, and then he also just has a crowd. But I want to fight Amir Albazi too, man. I want to fight everybody. I love what I do. I love fighting, and it's like I want to test. I want to test myself against the best, and it's like I want all these guys. I want Cape. I want Amir. I want Brandon Moreno, and so on and so forth. You name it.
How different do you think that Pantoja rematch goes? Like, I don't think people
Oh,
realize, like, looking back, like, I don't think people realize, like, you were coming off that surgery. And I was talking to your manager, I was talking to some of your teammates, like, a lot of them thought you were going to be gone for a year, and all of a sudden you come back like 8 months later, not like 8, 9 months later from that injury. When a lot of them thought you'd be like November, December. Like, how much do you think that kind of impacted it as well? And like, how different do you think that rematch
I,
is?
I think it was a huge impact, and it was like one of those things where my doctor told me, "You do not take this fight right now. You do not take this fight." I'm like, "You don't understand, doc. Like I everything that what's that? God, I forget that movie. You don't understand what kind of man I am,
Ah,
doc." But no, no, not that. I was just like, you don't understand that this has title shot implications. They're saying if I win this fight, I'm up next for a bout, and I was like, I could win this fight. Like I knew I could win that fight, and it was like, yo, I'm a month and a half cleared for a month and a half, almost 2 months cleared from being able to do anything. I wasn't able to strike, none of that stuff. Finally, I'm able to do something, and yeah, I was a month and a half away from that fight. So it's like that was the first time I was grappling in 2 years. The first time I was live grappling in 2 years. The first time I wrestled in 2 years, and it was like ever since I was in the UFC, I was so compromised with my shoulder, just dislocating every time I grappled, every time I got an underhook, anytime anything happened, my shoulder was dislocating, and it was just like I felt like I definitely rushed it. And looking back now, I would have changed a lot of things, and maybe pumped my brakes a little bit, or at least asked for a couple months to kind of pull back on that. But I felt like even that loss against Pantoja led to a lot of good things, and it led to a lot of different things in my training and different ways of like how I approach things and all that. So it's like I think the loss helped me out, and I've been saying this in all these little interviews. Is I think Alexandre Pantoja and me losing to him made me way better a fighter, and
Mhm.
it's like I made so much adjustments and I've done so many different things that it's like I almost appreciate the loss to him at this point, where it's like it haunts me to this day, and it's like I know that was a fight I could win, and it was like even going into that second round, I was like, oh, it's over. Like I have this one, you know. And it's like I think people see the loss, and I think people see the Brandon Moreno loss, and they're like, "You got knocked out by Moreno." It's like you guys did not watch that fight. Like you did not watch
Yeah.
that fight. And then people see the Alexandre Pantoja fight, and they're like, "You got your ass kicked by Pantoja." And it's like none of that happened. Like I did not get my ass kicked by Pantoja, and I did not get my ass kicked by Moreno. The Alexandre Pantoja fight and my fight was really crazy, and it was close. It was back and forth. And if you watch that fight, you could see all the momentum swing in that fight until I messed up. And it's like I dropped the ball and I lost, and I took that out, and it's I got so much better, and I developed new styles and new habits and all the above. Um, that being said, that wasn't a one way fight at all. Like that was a crazy fight. That was a back and forth fight. That was a fight of the night type fight, and it's like if you want to fight a night fight with Alexandre Pantoja and you think Brandon Moreno is the only guy to do it, you're dead wrong. You're dead wrong. You want a crazy fight? Put me and Alexandre Pantoja in the cage.
Mhm.
That being said, is I think I can finesse that fight too. I think I've developed so much different character traits and fighting traits that it's like I think I could go in there and not even take a beating anymore. Like I wouldn't even go in there and brawl with him anymore. I think I go out there and just out technique him the whole entire time. So yeah, I guess long story short, and to answer your question is, I was told and advised by a doctor, do not take this fight. I was told by a lot of people, do not take this fight, but it was just like I'm close to a belt. Like, what
Mhm.
am I not going to take this fight? And it was like I didn't want to see anybody else take that fight, and then I get skipped. So it was just like in my head, I was like, I'm super close to a belt, and like I was eager, and it was just like one of those things where I was like, I'm gonna roll the dice on this one, and I probably shouldn't have. But that being said, is it's made me a better man and a better fighter because of that.
Just final thing, like, say it is the title shot next. Like, do you care? Like, do you have a time frame? Like, kind of rough idea? Like, I imagine Pantoja's gonna take a bit of time off, especially after that fight. Like, are you hoping it's this year? Or you think it'll probably be early next year?
I was getting prepared to fight next year because I was just assuming maybe Moreno won and they're gonna do a UFC Mexico or something. But whenever he's ready, I'm ready. I want to take that fight. I want to take any fight, and it's like I'm ready at all times, you know. And if he wants a quick turnaround, I'll be there. If he doesn't, I'll take my time too. It's like I got money stacked up. I've been saving, and I got a couple years to waste right now. So let me know when he's ready, and I'll be ready. You know.
Well, Brandon, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this again.
Thank you. Have a good day, bro.